How do I start my own business?
Being my own brand would be totally legit.
I want to be the next Gary Vee.
My dream is to be on Shark Tank.
I'm just gonna Google it.
I mean, I'm awesome at social media. What could go wrong?
Oh my God.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Learning Curves. This is episode 17, and today I'm having a solo cast. And I'm really excited about this topic because I've been actually working on a speech for one of my public speaking courses to dive into a big idea that I have and also discuss some of the challenges and pain points that I see a lot of business going through today in regards to digital marketing. And so I wanted to kind of talk to you all a little bit about some of these things and also discuss some top strategies that are some of my favorite strategies that I have seen work for other companies that we have worked with, and also strategies that I've personally used for my own businesses. So I know I own a digital marketing company. So when I started my own company, I wanted to make sure that I also implement a lot of the strategies that I ask other people to do for their companies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But I just wanted to get started with a couple alarming stats right now it's just crazy right now and some of the challenges that businesses are facing in 2022. It just seems like it's getting really hard to show up online and to have your voice heard, to have your ads, to have people actually seeing your ads, because there's so much out there and there's so much clutter that's going on. The other thing that's detracting people from actually seeing a lot of your content and your ads is that with a lot of the new changes that Google has made, it's like now about 69% of all people are actually might not be seeing your ads because they're putting ad blockers on their phone. And also this is happening on desktop. It's about 16% on mobile. So we have to get smarter in how we're putting together our digital plans. Another thing that I'm seeing is a big statistic out there is about 75% of people actually, they distrust advertising. They don't believe it. So you need to come up with new strategies that are really going to grab people's attention and be a little bit more authentic. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And you might be thinking, well, what about organic social media? Surely there should be something there. And that's another big thing too, because over the last 2 years, organic reach has gone down from 16% to 2%. I mean, that's like a crazy number. So what that means is only 2% of people are actually seeing the content that you produce on your business page. 2% for organic. So that's a little crazy. So now you're probably thinking, well, how do I get the word out about my business? The biggest thing is most companies aren't. And if they are, they're doing it with not very much success. So what we're seeing is a lot of statistics with mid-sized businesses that they're reporting a decline in sales, a loss in profits, and there's been a ton of massive losses for so many businesses, especially in 2020 and 2021. So for digital marketing to really work for companies, you really need to have a plan that you can integrate, measure, and track. This is my big thing that I'm telling a lot of companies, because what I see a lot of companies doing is they basically put together a plan and they set it and forget it. They have that kind of approach. And that doesn't drive results for businesses to help you get more margins. If you want really great margins for your sales, that's required to run a successful business, you have to have that strategy in place. I see a lot of CEOs today that have basically a half-hearted attempt for digital marketing, and it's a little concerning because I just see so much money flying out the door and so many missed opportunities. So today we're going to uncover, first of all, a couple of the pain points of reasons why, first of all, companies are afraid of digital marketing and some reasons why they might not be doing it. So some of the things that I've uncovered is, first of all, and I see this a lot coming in, is people are afraid to do things that they don't understand. And a lot of people don't understand digital marketing. So that gives them a fear. And because they fear that, and then they're not going to do it. They don't want to try it. One of the other biggest pain points is they would like to see online marketing results, but they don't really believe that they need them. They think that, hey, my business is fine and I don't need to have a strategy at all. A big thing that I see for a lot of businesses is they feel that digital marketing is too expensive. So they don't want to put a budget in that. So that's a really big one. And this one is very true, and I see happening a lot, and they don't know who to trust. It's confusing for them. Who do I hire to help me with this? And there's a lot of people out there in the social media world that have claimed that they're experts and they're not. And so people are hiring companies and they're failing and not getting the results. So then they don't really want to try it again after that. So that's a really big one too.
Second Soul Studios is a full-service production studio with capabilities for photo, video, podcasting, editing, co-working, and more. Our photo video studio has a number of different backdrop choices and props to choose from. We also have a gourmet kitchen set, or if you're an upstart podcaster, you'll love our 4-person podcast studio. So what are you waiting for? Visit secondsoulstudios.com to book a tour today.
And one of the other biggest things is they're just simply afraid to change. I see a lot of companies that are just stuck in the past. It's crazy, but there are a lot of companies out there that don't have digital campaigns, that they just think that, people will come, or maybe they're still trying traditional methods. And I see this with a lot of companies that are older companies that have been around for a really long time that just haven't made that move to change. So those are a lot of the pain points that I see people going through. And I'm going to walk you through to a couple top strategies that are really working today that I feel that are very trackable for businesses and can really help you get through the clutter that we just mentioned, the ad blockers that are happening. It will help you from that 2% organic reach, get more people to see you and get the social media channels to actually show your content more. There are some things that you can do to actually overcome some of these things, so you can be successful with your business. So there's always a reason. There's always a way to make it happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So I think a lot of you know, if you've listened to my past podcasts, that I've owned my marketing agency now for 25 years, and I've seen quite a bit of challenges with business owners. It's been really an interesting ride. One of the main things I see companies that they're not implementing is they're not implementing a digital strategy. I think that main reason, especially a lot of small businesses, is they think it's too expensive. So therefore they kind of leave that off and they kind of go on their own, hoping for the best. And I got to tell you, through all my years of owning a digital company, I've seen firsthand what happens to businesses when they don't invest, or if they invest too little, again, or if they don't have that proper strategy in place. They just can't get to where they want to be, and it's really hard for them to make their goals. During the pandemic, I actually started a second company, which is crazy, starting a company during the pandemic, but I did. And I actually started this studio right here that I'm sitting in called Second Soul Studios. And, I give a lot of people advice on marketing, and I decided that, I put a lot of money into the studio, a couple $100,000 actually, to build this thing out. And I knew that, I had to have people ready to book once we were finished with that construction, because I had to start paying this baby off. So I needed to get some people in there. So I basically sat down and I mapped out a full strategy and plan for my business, just like I do for my customers over at CEA. And I put together basically a pre-launch plan for my company, where we started running digital ads 6 months before we even opened the doors here. We were reaching out to customers, letting them know what we have here through social. We put together video ad campaigns. We were running social ads. We did quite a bit. I invested quite a bit of money 6 months prior to me opening, like I mentioned before. But the result of that was amazing, because what happened was, as soon as we were ready to open up the doors, I had already had contracts and people ready to come in and rent the studio. It was, a very successful time, especially when my other business during COVID and things like that were down. The studio, there was a lot of need for video content, photography, things like that, because people did start seeing the need of how they needed to transition to having more of a digital focus. And also, there was a lot of companies that needed to get the word out because they weren't having live events anymore. So they wanted to stream a lot of their content and a lot of their messaging. So they came to the studio to do that. So that would have never happened if I didn't decide to put an investment into my marketing way ahead of time. And even now, I still put a lot into my marketing for my studio. And I also do for my agency as well. It's something that I never stopped doing. And I never cut the budget, because you never know when something's going to happen where you might not be able to have that pipeline of business coming through. So we did a lot of different things to bring in people to experience the studio. We had a lot of live events, which I'll talk to you more in detail. But we did a lot of things that were really, really important to create a lot of traction here for the studio. So the moral of the story is that marketing can bring you qualified leads if it's done right and offered to the right audience, just like I did for my studio. And it's important to have a decent budget that you want to put into this. I mean, this is hard work. If you're going to invest in starting a company, you must invest in marketing. Marketing gives you such a great place to be able to tell your story and to get people to come into your location. So I'm going to break down a couple different strategies that I feel are really important that you can do for 2022. One of the things that I feel is important is running targeted ads. Targeted ads that you can run both on Google and on social media. You can actually go in and put in like who your personas are and what goals you're trying to get, and then from there do a very, very targeted campaign to reach those people. And what I've found with the targeted ad campaigns that you can run, usually on social media, you're going to see more of like a brand awareness. So people that might not be quite ready to start running campaigns, but they're learning about your company. They're putting you down as a possibility of somebody that they might want to talk to. So that's always a good place to start, especially if you're doing like teaser campaigns and things like that. You want to create that awareness first, but also during that time period by running Google campaigns, people are going to actually find you when they're actively searching for things online. So I feel like both those two things, they work really, really well together because the social ones kind of bring people in that you'll find that maybe start doing business with you a couple months down the road. And then you kind of bring them in, put them through a nurturing system, and it works really well. when you do this, you want to make sure that you have an optimized website full of keywords and educational content. So it keeps them interested once they come to your website. And also it is important. Everybody says, well, which one should I do? Which one is more important, one over the other? I really think that both of them are important because they just both work really well together. And let me tell you another story about another one of my clients when it came to digital marketing and how Google ads and social media ads like really paid off for them is we contracted with a local carpet company here in Clearwater. And they were a very old fashioned, very old school company, had been around actually over, probably about 50 years. And most of the stuff that they were doing was very traditional. They were running a lot of probably still newspaper, did a ton of cable. So I would say their main reach was going after people that were in their 60s, I guess. So that was like their main persona. But what they didn't realize is that they were missing out on this huge buying demographic that was online. And that was the millennials. The millennials are ones right now that are buying houses like crazy. They're making really great money. And what do they want to do when they buy the house? They want to renovate the house. So they're looking for hardwood floors. They're looking for carpeting. They're looking for all those things. Probably even more so than that retiree. So the way to reach them was through an online campaign. And, what we did is we, started running social ads for them. We started running Google campaigns for all their locations with search. And what they ended up finding is they actually were pleased to find out that they had a 30% increase in phone calls and traffic and leads that came into their business that they could then take and turn into sales, which turned into about a 20% increase in sales. So that was something that was truly amazing. And, I see a lot of that with one of those pain points that I mentioned earlier, how some businesses are skeptical because they're kind of stuck in the past and they keep doing the same thing, is they could almost run themselves extinct if they do that, if they don't put together a strategy to reach these people that are online, because there's a whole other audience that's out there that they want your products. They want to learn about them, but they're never going to know if you don't get on there and start telling your story. So there's all kinds of different ways for brands to break through the clutter. I stated earlier about how 81%, which is a really high percentage rate of people, don't trust brands. They don't trust advertising, and that number is growing. So consumers need to be able to trust a brand before they can even buy anything from you. So with that being said, it's really important that you run some type of campaign that gets people really interested. And it's like, so if I can't run ads and people don't believe in advertising, then what do I do? Well, one of the things that we see that's working really well for a lot of clients, and I just see this online as well, and I'm sure you do too when you're on Facebook, and that is influencer marketing. Influencer marketing is a way to really sell your services in more of an authentic way and get people in, and it's more believable for people because it's not coming from you, it's coming from somewhere else. So there's a certain way that you can go about doing this is, I have 4 different ways. The first way to do this through influencers is we all have influencers in our life that can be working for us. Who are those people? Well, they're our family and our friends. And if you own a business, they're also your employees. So you start with them first. They're your biggest advocates. Get them to talk about your business, to share your posts, to jump in and be part of that conversation and help tell your story. Start with them and see how that goes. And then the next thing that you might want to do is get with some of your top customers and ask them, say, hey, do you mind if we do some type of collaboration where I can talk about your business and maybe you can talk about mine online and kind of, share the experience. If you had a great experience, please let people know. And the other thing is just getting people to come and try your products. A lot of people will actually reach out to people that they feel online would be great candidates for their products and reach out to them and say, hey, I think you would be a great candidate. If I send you some of these products, do you mind maybe jumping on social media and talking about how great they were? And what I suggest with that one is make sure that they really love your product. Make sure that they're the right prospect, because you just don't want to give your products to somebody just because they're going to take the money or take the free stuff, but they're not really into what you have. I see a lot of companies making a big mistake there. But it does work really well. I actually get people that reach out to me all the time on social and asking me to promote some of their things. And and I would be very picky about what brands I pick, because I just want to make sure that I love them as well before I would ever go out and endorse anything like that. The other thing is, what I found really successful is, especially with my studio, is we invite a lot of companies here. We invite a lot of organizations here at the studio to come and experience it firsthand. So by having these events that we sponsor, a Second Soul, we're bringing people in to experience it firsthand. And what happens is, if they have a wonderful time, they have a great experience, they see all the great things that we do. We have gotten so many referrals, and actually probably that's one of the top ways that I'm getting the most business is off of these events that I have. And we invite these different organizations that people come here, and those people turn into your brand ambassadors. They turn into your influencers. So it works really, really well. Great thing to do. And another thing that worked really well is, there's a lot of different big influencers that you can research them on Instagram. You can also find them on YouTube. YouTube is full of influencers. There's so many people on there that they're probably even doing it for free just because they love it. They might be a foodie, or they might be, a travel enthusiast, or, they might be a fashion person. There's just so many different people out there that are shooting content and talking about the things that they love. So do some research on that and find what would work best for your particular product. We recently did something that was really great for one of my master plan communities. Their focus is they have these big, huge lagoons at all these different communities, and they're selling like this lagoon lifestyle. Come here, and you have this really nice resort style place that you can live in. So we wanted to do something a little bit different. Try to break away from all that clutter that's out there, because a lot of people use like models and lifestyle imagery, but again, we wanted to have something that was a little bit more authentic, something that was more believable. So what we did is we hired some influencers to come and spend the day at one of the communities and really experience it firsthand. We gave them a golf cart, we gave them passes to get into the lagoon, we had them tour all the models. And the best thing about it is they just so happen to be in the market for a home. So they came up and did this whole series about what it was like to be there and how much fun it would actually be to live in this community. And they happen to be cruise influencers. They go on a lot of cruise ships and document their experience. But because this was like a vacation kind of style, kind of fun community, we felt that the two matched really well. Plus the personas of this client, one is, a lot of like millennials that might not have kids quite yet. They love to cruise a lot because they have the time and the money to do so. And so do the empty nesters and the retirees. They're big cruisers as well. And that was another one of their personas. So it worked really well. They posted a whole 20-minute segment on their YouTube channel. We got over 10,000 views and hundreds and hundreds of comments of people just asking, hey, what's it like? What are the home prices? What are the, not the interest rates, but the HOA fees, all these like really buying questions. So it worked really well, and the whole thing went viral very quickly. So influencer campaigns, they work really well. So my next and last tip, and if you heard about the influencers, they do like to take their cameras around. They like to do a lot of reels. They like to do social, but it's a lot of like heavy video content. Is my last, actually, no, I'm sorry about that. There's two more that are there. That will segue into the video portion of this. They use a lot of video content that I mentioned. So I highly recommend, my fourth thing to think about for your business is having a video strategy. Video is by far one of the number one things that you should think about for your business, because it's the thing that all the search engines love it. Google loves video, Facebook, Instagram loves video. YouTube is a phenomenal channel to get out there and tell your story. You can put video in your emails. You can put it on your website. It's all about that storytelling. Storytelling is so important right now. So you can really get people that trust issue that we talked about before. That trust issue is so important that you can get people to trust you. And by doing that, you can really create some cool videos that are educational, that really can get people to appreciate your brand and want to buy from you. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. You can create a really long format video that you can take and you can chop it up into a lot of different pieces. And then you could have long videos, you could have shorter videos, 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 6 seconds. But this is one of the strategies that we see that's very, very successful for a lot of the clients that we work with. I'm also seeing it. I also do it for my own business, and we get great results on everything that we do for both CEA and Second Soul. So I'm really a big fan of video. My last strategy actually is my new favorite is what I'm doing right now, and that's a podcast. Podcasting, I got to tell you, is just so much fun. First of all, I was really hesitant to do it because I'm like, it's going to take a lot of time, and is it going to work, and all these different things, and always trying to talk myself out of it. But once I could convince myself to do this podcast, it's just been so great. You can make the podcast do a lot of different things. Number one, you can use it as a new business tool. Well, you can invite, I call it the Trojan horse of business, new business. Think about all the new business prospects that you wanted to get in front of and you wanted to talk to, but they won't take your phone call. They won't read your email. They delete your LinkedIn message that you send to them. But what if you, sorry about that. What if you staged it this way? What if you went on LinkedIn and reached out to one of your top prospects and said, hey, I think you really have some great messaging. I have this podcast, mine's called Learning Curves. I think you have I'm just been watching a lot of the things that you've been putting out on social media, and I'm just really impressed by you. And I think that you would be a great contributor to my show. And it also might be something that would, you on my show could also probably help you with your business. And a lot of people, their egos get so big and they get so excited when you ask them to come on your podcast. And when they're here, just think about it. They're on your podcast and you get anywhere from probably a good 2 hours of time with these people. That's a lot, is 2 hours. And you can just have that full time to really get to know the person. And after the podcast, they're probably going to sit down and say, hey, what's going on with Second Soul? I really love this place. That's what a lot of people say to me. And I end up getting some clients from it. Or they might be a client of the agency. The other thing that you can do with the podcast is maybe you could also reach out to other people. And the way I would do it is first maybe be on a couple other people's podcasts first, just to get a feel for it. And then if you really like it, then think about starting your own show. Or the other thing is you can sponsor a podcast. So there's a lot of different things that you can do there. But those are my top strategies right there that can really get you heard, really get people to trust you, break through the clutter of what's going on out there right now, because there's a lot of clutter and a lot of people aren't paying attention, but these things will get people to pay attention. And these things you'll see that will make your business more successful. And in the bottom line, what are we all trying to do when we do these type of things? we're all trying to get more business, right? That's the bottom line. So have a good strategy, know who your audience is, have goals, and don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid. That's my big thing that I talk about on my podcast all the time is take your fear away, put that plan together, put a budget together, and move and drive through it, and you're going to see a lot of success. If you want to know any more about any of these strategies that I've discussed today, please feel free to reach out to me. You can DM me on any of my social media, Instagram at kbassetti, or Kelly's Digital Marketing Tips for Small Business, which is my Facebook business page, or you can email me at kelly@ceamarketing.com, and I'll be there for you to help guide you through anything that you might need. Thanks a lot, and I hope you really got a lot out of this show, and I'll see you next time. At CEA Marketing, we take your business, your passion, and your why, and we sell it. If you're unsure where to start marketing your company, CEA Marketing is here to help. Our team at CEA has tons of experience and top-notch training, which helps you take all the stress and confusion out of marketing your own business. After years of working with large companies like Pulte Homes, the Outback Bowl, and Metro Places, we guarantee the successful implementation of a marketing strategy.